Welcome. Today, we're going to take a look at what is basically a masterclass in storytelling. And here's the kicker. It's told entirely through the actions of a few very good dogs. So, can a perfect story really be told in just 4 paragraphs? It's a great question, right? We usually think of stories as these huge things, sprawling novels or epic movies, but what if you could capture a whole narrative, the setup, the rising action, the climax, all of it, in just a few perfect moments? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. We've got 4 short, descriptive paragraphs that honestly read like shots from a film. By breaking them down, we're going to uncover a beautifully complete little narrative and see exactly what makes it tick. Okay, let's start with Act 1, the blissful beginning. Every great story needs a starting point. This is where we meet our hero and get a feel for their world, before all the action kicks off. Let's see how this one begins. Just take a second and really picture this scene. A gentle push in on a golden retriever. Can you feel that warm, soft light? Can you hear that rhythmic thump, thump, thump of the tail? It's just a moment of pure, uncomplicated peace. And that right there, that's the emotional foundation for this entire story. So, in storytelling lingo, this is what we call the setup. It's like the before picture, right? We're just being introduced to our main character in their normal world, feeling perfectly content. And what makes it so good is how simple it is. There's no conflict, no drama, just the state of being that we can all instantly understand and connect with. And honestly, this baseline is everything. For a story to really land, for us to feel the journey, we have to know where it all started. And our story starts right here. One dog, in a state of perfect, solitary calm. Okay? Let's hold on to that feeling as we move forward. All right, so we've got our baseline of calm. Now let's see how the story builds on it because, well, the energy is about to change. A lot. And bam, talk about a shift. We just went from a gentle, quiet push-in on one dog to a big, cinematic, sweeping orbit around 3 of them. We went from a quiet little tail thump to a communal, melodious howl. The scale, the sound, the energy, everything just got cranked way up. So you can see the progression right here, right? We went from step 1, this very personal, individual rhythm, to step 2, this big communal howl. It's a huge leap. The story has officially escalated. The emotion isn't private anymore. It's become a public event. And this, my friends, is classic rising action. The story literally expands from one character to a whole community, and that raises the emotional stakes. And think about it. Why a howl? Because a howl is so inherently communal, right? It's this primal expression of joy. It's the perfect way to build excitement and signal that we're heading towards a peak. Okay, so we've gone from peace to this big, joyful action. Where does it all lead? Well, it leads to the peak moment, the big emotional payoff for the whole story. Oh, I just love this description. You've got slow motion, fallen petals, these triumphant looks, applause, and then my favorite part, the brilliant detail of the newlyweds being totally upstaged. This isn't just a happy little moment. This is a full-on victory lap. It's like they put on a show and they absolutely crushed it. And really, this is just a masterclass in how to build a feeling. It's not just one thing. It's this powerful combination. You have the setting, the fallen petals. You have the character's emotions, those triumphant looks. You have the audience reaction, the applause. And then you have that perfect humorous twist with the couple. Every single element works together to create this undeniable feeling of success. So that's it. That's the peak of our story. And, in a tiny story like this, the climax and the resolution can happen almost in the same breath. All that rising action from the howl finds its triumphant answer, its resolution, right here, in this moment of shared applause and recognition. The emotional payoff is delivered. It's just a perfectly satisfying high point. Okay, the party's over. The triumph has been felt. But a really great story doesn't just stop cold, right? It gives us a moment to reflect. So let's move on to our final act, our final shot, and see how this story gives us a real sense of closure. And just like that, the energy completely shifts again. We're back to a single dog. We're in the quiet of a moonlit garden on an empty dance floor. It's like the gentle exhale after a big celebration. You can feel the story winding down. This last scene is basically a perfect little epilogue. It's not introducing any new action or anything. It's just a quiet, closing thought. And that's what's so important. It lets the emotional impact of the story really settle in, and it gives us one last image to hold on to after the main event is over. And really, it all comes down to the power of one tiny perfect detail, that contented swagger. Why is that so brilliant? Because that one little phrase tells us everything we need to know. It confirms how we should feel. It's not just a walk. It's the walk of a creature who is completely and totally satisfied with how the night went. It's the story's final emotional punctuation mark. Perfect. So let's just trace that arc one last time. We started with the setup, blissful individual peace. We moved to the rising action, a buildup of communal joy. That led to the resolution, a big moment of shared triumph, and we ended with the epilogue, a quiet feeling of contented closure. See? A perfect, complete story right there in miniature. And that leaves us with one final thought. We just saw how a simple phrase, a contented swagger, could perfectly cap an entire emotional journey. So it makes you wonder, what are the tiny specific details in the stories that you love? The ones that give you that same feeling of perfect, satisfying closure. It's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me for this.